Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Hawk Vision Podcast. I'm your host, Chuck Hawkins, here to help you shorten the learning curve on your way to greatness. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe across all of your social media platforms, especially here at YouTube, guys. More importantly, share this podcast with other visionaries just like you. Before we get started, a lot of you guys have been asking, sending a bunch of messages and DMs on how to support the show. So if you take a look at the show notes, you'll see a link to one of my favorite things. If you know anything about me, you know that I love me some coffee. And right now you'll be able to support the show by buying a cup of coffee or two. And for those that do, obviously, if you're a subscriber, you'll get some other stuff on the back end. So we thank you for supporting the show. As always, can't thank you enough, man. All the DMs, the comments, and messages, we absolutely cannot grow this show without you. My guest this week, man, is somebody that I can't wait for you guys to meet because he's operating in an industry that most of us don't even know as an option to build wealth in a meaningful way. And when it comes to consulting, training, and industry knowledge, it does not get much better than this gentleman. I've been doing my research, y'all. He is absolutely, man. You've been helping bridge the gap and building meaningful wealth for families across the country by using the trucking industry. And that means, as a means to launch businesses, absolutely an entrepreneurial legend in the making. And this week's visionary, Mr. Mike Nelms. Welcome to the show, sir.
I appreciate it. I feel like I'm on the hot seat right now.
Absolutely. Only gonna be a little bit, man. You have absolutely earned it. All the accolades, man. I cannot be more excited to have you on the show. And we've been putting this together for a minute, man. My schedule, your schedule. So I'm glad we're finally here.
Definitely. Glad you got me on the show, brother.
Absolutely. So we were just talking. So let's touch base on that. We've both been able to build up, a certain kind of lifestyle to where these kids are spoiled.
Right.
And we were just talking about you're in the trucking industry, man. And so I know that you don't necessarily do all the driving yourself, but having to pick up these kids and the line, like what's going on with the lines to pick up the kids, bro?
Well, you know what? My daughter's school, she said that they just brought in another 165 students. And so with that, so yesterday I think I got there around 3:30, didn't get home till about 6. Today was a little bit better. So I was happy that they tightened some things up. But yeah, it's that line. Like we were saying, these kids, they so used to getting picked up. We had to walk to school.
Exactly. And the crazy part is we had to walk and be home at a certain time.
Right.
And
you better walk fast.
You better walk fast because now the time that we're getting home from picking them up is about where we needed to be when we was walking. It's crazy.
Exactly. You only had a couple hours to play before the street lights came on. So, things are changing now. They only little tablets all day long. You barely get 2 minutes of conversation with these kids now.
Listen, I don't even know if my daughters know what the street lights coming on means. Like, I just, now I need the power to go out just so I can show them to go outside, play a little bit more so they can see what it looks like. That's crazy.
Ain't that something? It's spoiled, man. But that's because we put that hard work in, so they don't have to go through some of the things that we had to go through. Like I was teasing before, but we didn't have a car. We didn't have a car growing up, so that getting picked up wasn't an option anyway.
At all.
Like I was saying, the joke is my daughter said, "Well, how did you get places?" I said, "We walked."
She got us back in the day when we was on horse and carriage.
That's what she thinking. Like, how did I get around? Our feet. So yeah, that's it.
I love it. Well, let's jump right in, man. I'm big on origin stories. I'm a Marvel fan, so we got to talk about how you got into being an entrepreneur as a whole, and then we'll start in on this trucking industry.
Oh man, it's real simple. It was about maybe 11 years ago now.
Okay.
I got up one day and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of getting up. I'm tired of getting up for other people.
Yeah.
The commute to work, the commute back, from work. I just really wanted my time back. So I just jumped out there. I took a leap of faith. I had a couple of dollars saved up, took some out from my 401k, and I said, I'm gonna invest this. It's just sitting anyways.
Right.
So that's really how I jumped in it, man. I just kind of got it 1 minute. I did some collections early on when I had first graduated from college. And I was just thinking one day, like, man, I can open up a collection agency. It's real simple. I know how to do it.
Okay.
At that point, I grew from like maybe 3 collectors to got up to about 32. And then from there, I just started opening up other businesses. I had a salon. Was selling hair for a minute off the internet, like when it first got big.
Right. You were selling
so
bundles?
Man, I was selling bundles, man. 32 inches, 30 inches. I was slaying that. I was selling it out of my collection agency. So I'm like, well, I already got an office. Let me just turn one of the rooms into a store.
I love it.
I'm always thinking. So then from there, a buddy of mine just came to my office one day. We was kind of shooting stuff, watching some Netflix on it, in the office, just kind of wasting time. And he was like, man, you ever think about getting into trucking? At that time, I was like, I don't really know much about it. Came back a couple more times. I bought a box truck. I was like, let me just buy a box truck and see how it goes.
Okay.
It was okay at first. Like, really wasn't. I thought we were gonna get rich off these box trucks, off these trucks, right?
Yeah.
It was a lot of breakdowns, a lot of drivers, turnovers, loads get delivered late, get penalized. But then I started to clean up. I started to realize, okay, let me tighten up in this area with these box trucks and take it a little more serious.
Yeah.
So from there, we just kind of grew. 1 turned into 2, 2 turned into 10, 10 turned into 10 headaches. So I had to. So from there, I said, let me try something else with this trucking industry. Let me just really dive a little bit more into dispatching. Okay. So then it took off from there.
So for those that don't know, talk about the difference between a box truck and then like the 18-wheelers that we see, Walmart running and all that good stuff.
Okay. So be honest with you, man, I'm a risk taker. Okay. But when I was tapping into the box trucks and I said I want to step into the semis, I was a little nervous because I knew it was a big league. Right. Box trucks, they typically going to hold about 26 feet of space. They got some 24-footers and some smaller ones, but most you're going to yield, your return is going to be on the 26 boxes.
Gotcha.
And you don't need a CDL, Class B or A4 box truck. So it's kind of easy to find drivers. But with that came, a lack of experience. So, right. So in a different type of driver, one that's going to invest the energy in finances into, getting their CDL, that's a different type of driver. So, right. So the big difference is really the feet of space. You got 53 feet of space versus 26 feet of space. A lot of LTLs are less than loads or light loads. You can kind of call it for box trucks. Semi is going to be a full load. So obviously they're going to pay a lot more. You're going to get more for your, rate per mile in the semi as opposed to a box truck. Loads are easier to find in a semi as opposed to a box truck. So it's a big difference. It's like it's baseball, major league, minor league. That's pretty much what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. Because when I first was looking at, doing the research to make sure that I could at least speak fluently to it, because I'm learning on this interview, just like my listeners, man, the visionaries out there, the box truck is, I think we can, a version of that we can still rent from like a U-Haul. Right. Like that's the biggest truck that they have.
Correct.
So when you decided to jump in, I think you were saying you bought the truck outright. Like you didn't even lease it or nothing. You just
no. See, one thing about me, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing with leasing, the only difference that I see when you're leasing a truck, you're financing one. They're gonna let you finance it for about 3 years. It's not like a regular, vehicle. It's a commercial vehicle. So they're gonna want their funds up a little faster, right? But when you're just getting into the business, to lease a $50,000-$60,000 truck, that's a huge commitment, right? That's a long-term commitment, right? So I wanted to be able to have an exit strategy. I think in any business, you got to have some type of exit strategy, right? So
yes,
you buy the box truck out cash, if it doesn't work in the next 6-7 months, you can just sell it and get your money back.
Right.
If you're leasing it and it don't work in 6 months, you got about 3 years to keep paying that note, right?
You got to find something to do with it, right?
You got to find something to do with it. You're sleeping into something, right? So I said, okay, well, let me jump out there. High commitment, low attachment. Let me commit myself to the box truck, but I'm not attached to it. So if I have to sell it, take that money, invest back into my collection agency, I had that option to do so. So that's why I always choose to just pay cash for them.
I think that is one of the biggest keys that people can learn in terms of entrepreneurship. Say that one more time. Low attachment.
High commitment, low attachment.
High commitment, low attachment.
Yeah.
I think if people looked at business opportunities like that through that scope, it would make entrepreneurship a little less stressful, right? Because you got to be able to, what's that movie, Casino or Heat, where he said you got to be able to walk away from it.
Yep, and then he said 3 seconds or something, you got to be able to walk away from it. That's what people don't understand. If you really are a true entrepreneur at heart, you understand that one business isn't going to make it. You got to have multiple streams. You got to, you got to invest in things, not just one, because sometimes one thing just ain't gonna work, or everything is seasonal.
Yeah.
Even with the trucking has its season, it has its peaks, it has its valleys and peaks. So you need to have other streams even within trucking, like renting out your reefer trailers, or renting out your dry van trailers, or dispatching. It's not just buying a truck, putting a driver in it. You have to be able to attack multiple streams within one business. And I think it's probably the main reason why I stuck to trucking. Most of my other businesses, even with hair, you're going to make money just selling hair. So I said, well, you know what, let me buy a salon. So I said, I can do the salon and the hair.
Right.
But yeah, most businesses, you're just going to be able to tap into, income one way. But with trucking, you got freight forwarding, you got brokering, you got, you can buy and rent trailers. You can buy and sell trailers. You can rent a trailer. You can put drivers in the truck. You can put other people on your MCDOT and allow them to run under your fleet. I mean, it's a lot of things you can do. It's a lot of things you can tap into. So that's the reason why I think trucking is an industry that, it's lucrative, it's fast paced, there's a lot of ups and downs. I just spent, I think $13.50 today on a truck, and it's still not running. Wow. We thought it was a battery. We thought it was the alternator. Next thing I know, I was getting it towed to another shop, and it happens. And we think it's just the ignition switch. So it's just, in this business, you're gonna have those valleys and peaks, but you really got to just stay strong and stay true to it. If you're gonna put the money and time into it, stay with it.
That leads me perfectly to the next question, because not too long ago, I watched one of the stories on your page, and you were telling me not me personally, but you were saying that you personally went out and helped get one of your trucks. I think it was one of your fleet owners get his truck back online, I guess, with the big boy jumper cables. Right. Talk to me about the commitment you have to customer service, because I think that's what separates you from a lot of people that are playing with this industry and the success that you've had.
A lot of people playing. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? And it's really not to toot my horn. Like that's not what we're doing here. But you really got to be committed. Like I got up and I was out, dropped my daughter off at school, and I've been out in the heat all day long. Just dealing with trucks that, some owners, the trucks may not start. They may have a little minor breakdown, something that's small. Right. But a lot of times, a lot of our clients don't live in Georgia. And sometimes the trucks are here, positioned here. They may be in a different state. But, you got to treat your trucks. You got to treat their trucks you got to treat their trucks like it's your truck. I look at all the trucks like they mine, right? I don't put any more interest into my own trucks than their trucks. And typically, I'm focused more on their trucks because they may not know the business that well, right? I got a little over 6 years in, and that 6 years I took a lot of wins and a lot of losses. And for real,
felt the pain in that lot of losses.
A lot of losses. I've taken a lot of losses, and some of it is just, I may have been ignorant and didn't know better. And ignorance is a very expensive lesson to learn, right? So I don't want you guys to go out and learn the same things that I've already learned. That's the the goal is so that when things don't go right with their trucks, I'm jumping on it. I'm all over it. Yeah. So that commitment. I mean, one time I was out there for a guy, his truck 12 hours trying to get it started. We just couldn't figure out what was going wrong with it. We got it done. Yeah. We got it done. But I think in this line of work, you have to be committed. You have to. I mean, these people are investing some $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 with my company. Right. With that investment, they want their money back, right?
Absolutely. And this is one of those industries where time is truly money, right? Because everything's on a deadline in terms of you mentioned positioning a truck, and that basically what that means, correct me if I'm wrong, is truck may be positioned in Georgia, the load may be in Texas, right? And they're the closest to it, and then wherever it's going, you got to be able to connect the dots so that it keeps making money all the way on that round trip.
There you go. The like they always say, if the wheels isn't turning, your money isn't burning. So, you got to make sure that those wheels is constantly turning. So whatever it takes, if it's me out there for 5-6 hours trying to, with the mechanic, trying to figure out how we can troubleshoot their truck, that's what we're going to do. And I'm not a saint. At the end of the day, when those wheels are turning, I'm making money too.
Absolutely.
Right? Not just them making money. So, I make money out their truck. That's the whole point. Yeah. So, I'm getting my commission off whatever loads that they pick and drop. So it makes sense for me to get out there and make sure that their trucks is rolling. But again, when they invest their 50, 60,000, 70,000, I want them to be able to make as much money as they can so they can go buy another truck so I can make some more money with it. So trust me, it's the name of the game is to get you from one truck to 4 or 5 trucks if that's what you want. Nice. So like I always tell people, my job is to get money about your pocket. That's what my job is. But, to make sure that you are educated along the way as well so we can help you grow to 2-3 trucks.
Wow. Yeah. I love it. I was watching something not too long ago, and they were mentioning that there's a large number of drivers that are retiring right now. And so how does that affect the business in terms of being able to find enough drivers for the amount of available loads when you find them.
So yeah, that is a huge issue. Drivers retiring. Of course, the pandemic, it changed the mindset of a lot of people. A lot of people, they got used to being home for that year and a half, and they're saying, you know what?
Yes.
I don't know if I want to drive anymore over the road. So a lot of drivers that say they got a little bougie, they want to be home every day, and of course, it's going to affect our bottom line. Definitely, absolutely. So what we do is we make it a little advantageous for drivers that want to stay on the road. We pay them a lot. I mean, It's just at the end of the day, the only thing you can really offer them is money. Yeah. So that's what we do. We pay them a little bit more than what the average company pays. We do it for a reason. Again, we want to keep our drivers. We don't want them shifting, going somewhere that's going to pay them close to the same to stay home. So what we do is typically when they come home that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we still pay them for those days to be home.
Nice. So how does that work? Because when I was introduced to the industry, and I'm again not an aficionado, but it was you were paid on the number of miles that you drove.
A lot of people pay on that, and I'm gonna tell you why we don't. So when you pay a driver by the mile, especially dealing with reefer trailers, we specialize in reefer trailers. So if the driver is get to his location at 5, he doesn't get loaded till maybe 9 or 10 o'clock. He's counting those lack of miles that he's not getting. He's looking at the clock, he's getting impatient. He's wanting this load to get loaded or get unloaded quickly. Right. It just caused a lot of confusion with that. So what we said was, don't worry about the miles. We're gonna pay you. We're gonna pay you as if you doing the miles or not. So we start them off at $1,800 a week, and for the drivers that have a little bit more experience, cleaning the yards, we may pay them a little bit more. And then also, like I said, we pay them to be home that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
I love it.
That paying by the miles, it was just causing too many issues early on when I first started. Yeah. Some loads may pay me great, but it may only go 400 or 500 miles. So the driver didn't maximize that day, So what we do is we equate our rate to about 65 cents a mile. Most people are paying in the 50s. So when you break down the miles that you've driven, the money that you're making, the salary that we're paying you, basically, it's always going to max out to about 65 cents a mile if you wanted to just consider the miles. But we don't pay by the mile.
So in this era that we're in, where we're losing drivers, is there one of your offerings? Is there an offering within the Keep Trucking umbrella, or Mike Nelms, what he's doing to teach new drivers, to teach people how to get that CDL?
Oh yeah. Well, not even to get their CDL, but drivers that come on with us, one thing that we get them to kind of stay is, and even people that want to come on, we let them keep the truck after 2 years. Oh wow. So now, as far as teaching the CDLs, we have a couple drivers that'll, say a driver's had their CDL for some time, but they haven't driven in a year or two. Then we'll just have them do a little crash course. And especially usually it's the backing up is what they need help with. Yeah, it's always the backing up. Right is right, left is left, and usually driving is the opposite. So it kind of throws a lot of the drivers off. But usually once they get a little refresher course, they'll be good for the road. As far as people who don't have a CDL, typically you're gonna start off with like a JB Hunt or a Swift. You may not make as much, but they'll take drivers with the CDL that maybe only 5-6 months old. We're taking them at 2 years old. You got to at least have them for 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, I hope my daughter listens to that part of this interview where we backing up is always
it's always a problem, right? The backing up. Well, where did scratch come from? I don't know. I didn't do it.
Yeah. It's just you magically took the car, came back with a couple scratches because you backed up, right? Like you can't go forward everywhere. So walk me through the industry, man, if you don't mind. And I don't want all the cheat codes because I know, we still got to run a business. But someone says, Mike, I'm ready. I got a couple dollars saved up. What do they need to do to be smart with their money, and where should they start?
Okay, so, well, obviously smart. You got to educate yourself, right? I mean, you got to get up there. Where it's podcasts like this right here, right? Yeah. You got to watch your podcast. It's free game. I know Truck and Hustle is another podcast. That's another good one to start, tapping into and getting some information from. Google. We didn't have Google growing up. We didn't have Google. We didn't have Google growing up. So, just kind of getting on Google and just doing your research. As far as just kind of educating yourself. I tell people all the time, we give consultations. Usually the first, 10, 15 minutes is free to kind of see where you at really. And a lot of people say they want to jump in it, but I think some people just kind of like the glam of it.
Yeah.
when I do my consultations, it's really to get you out the business, really kind of see where you're at. You know, if you really want to stay true to it after I give you some of my horror stories, then I know those are people I want to invest some energy into.
Yes.
What was your other question?
Well, just where do they start in terms of the barrier to entry, right? Should they start with dispatching? Should they start with getting their own truck? What do you think?
Well, definitely don't get your own truck first. I mean, learn dispatch. Now, I always tell people, dispatching is always a way to go because it's the only part of this industry that taps into everything. When you're dispatching, you have to learn your certificates of insurance. You have to speak to your insurance brokers. You got to know what type of insurance you need to have because you're going to be dispatching these trucks. All your federal filings, your IFTA, your IRP, your UCR, your BOC3, you have to have all those you have to understand those federal filings because it's a lot of them. Certain states like Kentucky, you got to have one. New York, you got to have one. So, so dispatching, the communication between you and the broker, you have to be able to, fight for these extra rates. You may see a rate for $2,500. I'm going for $3,200. That's my rule of thumb. Every time I see something, I'm gonna put an extra $700 on it and see if I can get it. Some of these brokers will bite, some won't. But that's my rule of thumb. I need $700. I need that fuel cover. You got to know what states to go into, what states to stay away from. What's gonna pay. Everybody knows Florida. You're gonna get money going into Florida. Coming out, you're gonna be almost doing it for free coming out, right? So
wow.
You gotta watch Florida. You gotta watch the loans. You gotta watch the seasons.
You always gotta watch Florida, whether it's politics or sports,
whatever it is. You gotta watch Florida.
You gotta watch Florida.
So you gotta love my Florida people, by the way.
Right, we do love Florida.
We love y'all, but
y'all a little bit of a
a little different up there, especially when it comes to these rates now.
Right.
So yes, I mean, you got dispatching is. I love it. We do it. We do it for our trucks. Obviously, we do it for other fleets. People who are on our MC DOT, join our team. People who have their own MC and just need us to dispatch them. It's to me, it's the most vital part of trucking. You got to learn. You got to learn dispatching.
Yeah.
And before you buy, you don't have to even be well versed in it, but at least know what it is. Know what a factoring company is. Know how to factor a load. Know how to get your money. That's extremely important. Some people, they got a truck and they're like, how do I get paid? You got to factor loads, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to factor loads. So that's really important. Understanding trucking is definitely the first step is to at least know a little bit about dispatching because that's where you learn. That's the hardest soul of trucking, to be honest.
So aside from the goal of financial stability and family, because we know Maddie ain't walking nowhere.
Right.
Where do you get the day-to-day motivation from? And the reason that I ask is because a lot of people watch entrepreneurs, especially on social media. Instagram got everybody thinking it's sweet every day.
Right.
So when Mike wakes up and says, "Nah, man, I ain't doing this today," what keeps you going?
Well, we laughed about my upbringing. I mean, it's no, I'm not ashamed of it. We actually embraced it. We were poor. We were really poor, right? Yeah. I mean, we didn't know it. We kept a clean house. My mom just kept us, well dressed. And
school clothes, play clothes.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I used to tease the kids thinking they was poor, not knowing we was the poor ones, right? I think that gives me that motivation to know that I never want Madison to say, "Dad, can I have something?" And my answer is no because I can't afford it. Now I may say no because you're a little spoiled. You need to learn what no means. But I don't ever want her to ask, "Can we do something?" And I say no because I can't afford to do it. So I think the fear of being average, the fear of being, the fear of being poor, man. That's what gets my ass up every single day. My feet hit the floor. As soon as I open my eyes, they hit the floor. I gotta figure out how to get more money.
That, you know what? I was literally saving this question for later. I was gonna say, most people have fear of success, fear of failure. Mm-hmm. Which one is it for you? And so I think we share probably that same fear. I never want my daughters to look at me and be like, "Dad can't afford it." Now it's different. They talk about houses and things like that, right? But just the day-to-day, we in the mall or she online and she sees something, absolutely, except for when she's spoiled.
Right.
How long did it take you to realize that was the fear? It wasn't the fear of success, it was the fear of failure. How long did it take you to realize that part?
Man, I think I've always been like that.
Really?
I think I always had that, even when I played sports, even at the type of schools that I went to, I always wanted to make sure that I was a little different. I wanted to make sure I was going to win. Like, regardless of what it was, I had to win. Right. I don't like losing. So, even though I was young playing video games, I would get so mad when I lost, man. So I think I just never really wanted to lose. Like, it really
All right, quick technical, but you were saying as a kid you didn't like to lose. You would
Oh
throw
yeah.
you would throw a fit.
Oh yeah, I definitely would throw a fit. I didn't say I throw a fit, but yeah, I definitely would throw a fit though. I didn't like to lose. I started making up my own rules, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I didn't like to lose. So I think that kind of that drive is it kind of carried over to my, you know, my 30s and my 40s. So, you know, it just, you know, it kind of got me to where I am though. You know, I take everything serious, you know, especially when it comes to business. I like to, you know, joke around, but
Yeah.
when it comes to business, you know, it's a whole other side of me. I'm a pit bull.
Listen, hey, we gotta embrace that number you coughed over, bro. I see the
Right.
Silver Fox game
You
jumping
see it?
in.
You see it?
I see you. You know, I got a patch coming in right here.
Yeah,
and I told the wife, I said, as soon as it get unnecessarily disrespectful, I'm just gonna keep this. I'm just gonna keep the goatee.
Right.
I love it. But with that, I think that comes with, you know, like we were talking about. Now we know a little bit more, right? And in terms of entrepreneurship, now we know it's not just that buzzword that everybody's using online. Now we know it's actually a lifestyle, and it's not. I caution people to say it's not that it's better than a 9 to 5, but it's better. But you still have a boss. You still have, you know, these customers, these partners. You still have to kill so you can eat. You still got to perform.
Right, definitely. If not more. Like, I mean, you definitely. I think the old saying is, I traded in my 40 hours a week for 80 hours a week. I work way harder now than I've ever worked. You know, these last 10, 11 years, it's no shut off. I mean, there's times that I'm on a boat where I could be out vacationing and I got that phone in my hand and it rings, I'm an answer. You know, it's trying to find that balance. Like my brother always say, man, he's a good guy, man. He always say, you got to find that balance. Yeah, it's one thing to work 80 hours a week, but you got to tap out sometimes. But you know, when you have other people investment in your hands, there's no tapping out. It's all day, every day. They call you answer. You know, there's an issue, you make sure it's resolved. I'm not to the point where I have to resolve every issue now. Just a little bit of growth, but I still have to watch the people who are. I got to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. At the end of the day, it's my company. You know, it's my brand. You know, it's my head that gets chopped off when things happen. So I always make sure that, you know, even though I trust the people who was on the team, I still got to go back behind it and make sure that it's done correctly. So,
absolutely. So you said you're in Georgia, correct? So you down there with the guy, Alex Good Energy.
Oh yeah, he's out here. Yep. You know, I haven't met him yet, but we talked a little bit on the ground. He's cool cat, man. I watch what he's got going on, and just being positive. I mean, that's something I've been my whole life, no matter what, right? You know, you always gonna see me smile. Like I say, I just had one of the worst trucking days I had all month today, but I'm still smiling, right? So I think that's you know, he talks about good energy. My whole thing is positive vibes only. I think it's like a blend. You know, he's a good dude, man. He's and for people that, you know, he's helped a lot of people in this industry, especially with dispatching. So, you know, my hat always goes off to him. He's always doing some good things out here with the people. So, you know, giving back. That's what's really important. Family oriented. You can tell. You know what I mean? He's got a good spirit, man. I like the brother.
And so you were telling me, speaking of giving back, the streets told me you got a nice little reform thing going on your end. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, well, we specialize. I don't say specialize, but you know, I hold true to my heart is people who come a long way. You know, you can't punish people who've been incarcerated forever. At some point, you know, if we really want to focus on, you know, changing the rate of recidivism, then we got to do our part, right? All of us. We all got to do it. You know, when I see someone who's a felon, I like to sit down and talk to them. I hate using the word felon because it puts a title on it. They're not a felon. They're just somebody who went to prison.
It's a bunch of corporate felons running around too, and they don't have that same stigma. So
and they don't have
that word.
Exactly. So I hate to even call them that. I just call them good people. You know, my good people. We sit down, we talk, we break bread, and they give me their vision. I give them mine. And, you know, we don't got to talk about prison all day, every day. That ain't what we're here for. Right? I understand that your plight is a little harder because of, you know, some things you may have done and may not have done. But we're not gonna keep beating at the death. You know, our point is to help you where other people may not want to help. They see that on your record and they don't want to put you in the truck for what? Put them in the truck. Let them get out here and get some of this money. And I've done a lot of good business with a lot of good brothers. I call them my good brothers. We all did something at some point. If it was have a couple drinks at the club and left, we all done something that could have landed us in a position that we're not in right now.
Yes.
Right. So, I don't hold anybody accountable forever. Let's move on past that and let's see what we can do to help you get your first truck, your second truck, your third truck. One of the good guys that I work with, man, he would not let me talk about him, man. He's like, man, I'm so low key. He's one of my best drivers ever. That man goes above and beyond. He's so respectful, so humble. We call him E. I was like, man, won't you let me interview you sometimes? He's like, nah, I just want to be behind the scenes. But honestly, man, he's definitely one of the people that stay true and committed to what we do here. And so it's really him is one of the reasons why I wanted to start hiring more people just like him, give him that chance. Hearing the story, just think about how many people passed his brother and didn't want to give him an opportunity.
Right.
He's been with us for over a year now.
Wow.
And
doing well. And doing
very well. He's putting some money in my pocket. I'm putting money in his. Very well. You know what I mean?
I love it.
A lot of people that pass that brother up, and I look at him like, that's cool. I take him. That like I say, even in college, that was something that I focused on was trying to do my part. Right? It really wasn't prison reform. It was trying to talk to the youngest before they got to that point. Right. Yes. I went to school in DC. Southeast is probably one of the roughest neighborhoods you can grow up in this country. Okay. And so I was able to sit down and talk to, a few young kids and, just kind of mentor them. Didn't really realize what I was doing then. I was young. I was like 18, 19 years old. I didn't realize what I was doing. I just knew I had a spirit to talk to these people. The same way that people in my neighborhood would talk to me to make sure I stayed, straight and narrow. And I did for the most part.
For the most part.
You know what I'm saying? For the most part, right?
So, you said we had a couple of veers left to,
it happens. You straight a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, stayed the course. And just staying humble, man. That's really why I think I'm at where I am. Just being humble and really being genuine. Wow. You can't pay for that.
I was having a conversation with someone a while back, and we were talking about how the culture tends to celebrate the millionaires and billionaires, right? Like Rihanna just hit $1 billion.
Right.
And while I love it, I am proud of her, all that good stuff. I said, those aren't the people that are changing the game for us though. It's the people like yourself that are, reaching back and helping and letting that man now have a choice between working a little bit harder, getting his money, and now not having to watch his back. That's taking one off the street. You know what I mean? And that's keeping the whole neighborhood safer because you got one less hitter on the street. And I think that needs to be celebrated way more than Rihanna hitting $1 billion. So
right.
I'm giving you your flowers,
I wouldn't mind
man.
having $1 billion. I ain't gonna lie.
No, not at all, not at all. But I think that if you had the $1 billion, and I know that you are well on your way, I'm speaking that into existence as well. But I think if you had the $1 billion, you would know how to set up an infrastructure to where more people would eat off of it.
Right. You know what? I swear, I promise you, I know why I'm here because of that exact thing. I always say, everybody eat. I believe in that. And that's another reason why, not to kind of piggyback what you were saying, why I go so hard for the people that's on the team, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I go harder for their trucks and mine. I want everybody to eat. I want everybody to get that, take that vacation they never took, retire early. Just know what it feel like to have some of your time back. You laugh about your 4 kids. I got my one, but the reality is we position ourselves that we can be able to sit down and have time with our kids.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important. And showing other people like, man, you can invest. Trucking not going to get you rich. Not one truck, not 2 trucks, but it'll buy back some of your time though.
And that's all it's about. So let me ask you this, because that leads me perfectly to one of the questions. Do you remember the feeling, the emotion off that first good check? Do you remember what it was like?
Man, no, my first good check, it wasn't in truck. It was I had a medical firm. I still do. I had a medical firm.
Okay.
Years now. So I ain't gonna lie, I got that first check. I looked at it again, like, nah, this ain't my money. This ain't my bag. But it's so funny because I thought I wasn't gonna get a second one. And then that second week came. And then that third week came. And I just felt like, man, I can't believe I'm making this type of money. Then after about the 6 months, I started getting comfortable. Like, okay, I can do a little bit different. I can buy a nicer car. Look into the house I always wanted. I can upgrade to a theater room in my house. Like, I started to live a lifestyle that I always wished I could. Right. But I didn't see it like coming that fast. And it came. Wow. And that's literally when I opened up Madison Moments. I had my daughter around that time, maybe a year or two later.
Okay.
A year later. And that's when I started saying, you know what? I'm making some good money. And I started to feel a little bit guilty about it, right? Because I knew where I came from and I wasn't used to making this type of money. And so I said, you know what? If I don't spend this money the right way, God gonna take it from me. So I started going down to 200 Cortland Avenue in Atlanta where the big homeless shelter was. I started setting up my little barbecue grill. You know, I said, well, these people, they probably haven't had a good barbecue in a long time, fresh off the grill. Yeah. Let me go get me a little $100 grill, throw it on the back of the truck, and let me cook out there for them like it's a cookout. So I started cooking out, started putting little hamburgers on the grill, hot dogs on the grill. As my daughter got older, she would help me cook the stuff, right? So I figured like that was my way of giving back. Wasn't asking nobody for no donations, wasn't asking for nobody. I just wanted your time. Come out here and help me pass this food out. Yeah. And that's how Madison Moments came about. You know what I mean? That's why I got back. And that gave me that spirit of saying, if I'm gonna make this money, I gotta spend it the right way. I gotta make sure I take care of everybody around me. And that's really been like, you asked, you know, what was the motivation? That the fear of being average, the fear of not having, you know what I mean? And the want to and the desire to make sure everybody else around me was okay. That's my mom in a nutshell. That's like literally, that's not to get too deep, but that's how she is. She makes sure everybody eat before she eat. To this day, she make y'all plate first. Yeah. That's how she is. Yeah, that's how she is.
That's strong. That's strong, man. And I you know, we get caught up when we talk about our daughters. I don't know, any girl dads are different because the ones that are active like we are, like my first painting company was named after my daughter's Paige Painting, her middle name. And I'll never forget when people used to, you know, hire me to paint the houses and, you know, do the interiors and stuff. Who do I make the check out to? And I'd always say, make the check out to my daughter. You know what I mean? Make the check out to my daughter, man. And from that point on, the game changed. So let me ask you this. Does the industry is moving towards this electric fleet thing, right? You see Amazon's want to do electric cars and all that. What does that do for your business? Does it change it? Does it make it harder? Or are you looking forward to it?
Right now it hasn't changed it at all. I don't think it's not so prevalent right now to where it's affecting what we got going on. Now, eventually, you know, maybe 10 years down the line, you know, it's going to be a lot of changes. But, you know, with me, I'm adapt. I'm adapt with it. I'm going to figure out another lane within trucking. It may not be buying a whole bunch of trucks. It may be dispatching, or it may be freight brokering. I may go out and buy me a warehouse or two. You know, I'm always adapting to change. That's one thing about me. That's why I say high commitment, low attachment.
I love that. You know, I'm still in that, man.
Yeah, I might have to get a tattoo. So my first tattoo may say high commitment, low attachment. Because that's what I'm talking about. If you're a real entrepreneur, you don't fall in love with none of this stuff. You don't. So that's, you know, at any point in time, if I need to sell my entire fleet of trucks and put that money into something else, I will. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. Just making sure the people that work with me on the team, they still continue to eat. If I sell my trucks, the drivers got to go with them. You know, it's just, you know, you can't make a move and forget about the people who got you here. You got to always remember that they're here, you know? So that's, you know, sometimes you got to lose a couple dollars to keep the trucks rolling because you know that driver, they got bills to pay. It's not always about you.
Walk me through fleet brokering. Is that the term you just used? With
brokering? So like brokering load, basically it's your broker. So every time you book a load with another company, you're using their broker. You know, obviously Walmart, they're not going to deal directly with me. Even if I have 10, 15, 20 trucks, they're going to deal with the broker. That broker is going to deal with you. So it's pretty the middle. It's pretty much the middleman. You know, load may pay $3,000. It may really pay $3,500. You may get it for $3,200 or $3,100. The broker is going to get the extra $300, $400.
Right.
And it's just middle in the deal, you know. But it's important to have brokers, though. It's important to have them because when you build those great relationships, you get those higher rates per mile. That's why I'm able to pay my drivers a little bit more. I've been dealing with the same brokers for years, so I know. You know, someone that's new, they may get a load paying $3,000. I might get $38 for it.
Right.
Because I've been dealing with it for so long.
Before you get to the broker status, where do you find your loads? Like how does someone be able to look and say, all right, I have all of my licenses, I had all the paperwork is in order. Now I need to find a load. Where do they go?
Load boards. You're gonna go to load boards. Now, if you're like a brand new, if your MCDOT is brand new, you'll probably go with like a TQL, somebody who's going to take you if you got 2 days in or 2 years in, you know, your rate's going to be a little bit different. You know, your rate's going to be a little bit lower unless you're doing business with a TQL broker and you've been doing it with them for some years.
Gotcha.
Then you're going to get some decent rates. TQL got some decent rates. You just got to know how to find them. So you're gonna go on different load boards. DAT is another load board. DAT got a lot of loads, but again, the rates aren't going to be the greatest. You can fish through them if you want. My thing is get you about 10 good brokers, stick to about maybe 10, 12 states, 10 brokers, and just use those same brokers, and you'll start getting good rates immediately.
I was gonna ask, is do you have states you stay away from? Because I'm in California and everything here costs a grip.
Cali, okay. I didn't know you was in Cali. Yes,
yeah.
I stay away from Cali, actually. I don't go out there that much. I don't send my trucks out there.
I love it. And I was gonna ask because I know everything costs. Like I put some gas in the car not too long ago, man. And when I tell you, my wife does the booking for the house because she's better at money than I am. I know how to make it. She know how to keep it. Right. So I brought the receipts in for filling up both the cars, and she was like, "What did you do?" I said, "Gas is about $5-6 a gallon right now."
A mortgage. You done spent the mortgage.
Yeah. So are there states you stay away from, or that you would advise new people in the business to?
You know what? I always tell people, like New York. New York's a state that everybody want to stay away from. But the rates are great going to New York. They're great going in. They're great coming out.
Okay.
The thing is, they got low bridges. It's congested. The tolls. There's just a lot going on in New York. So a lot of people stay away from New York. You got to be a seasoned driver, right?
Yes.
So you get you a seasoned driver. I'm booking them loads in New York every day if I can. But a lot of drivers stay away from New York. A lot want to stay away from the West Coast. I think it's just the feel of being so far away from home. So I think a lot of drivers stay away from the West Coast. There's some good loads going in and out of Canada. So it just depends on, Florida. They pay pretty good going in. They don't pay great going out. So I'll stay to like Jacksonville. I may go as far as Jacksonville, Florida, pick a load there. I'm close to Georgia, so I can get in and out of there.
Right.
It just kind of depends your preference. Like I said, of course we're gonna stay away from the middle states. We're staying away from those. They don't really pay much. Your South Dakota, North Dakotas, it's not really much freight coming in and out of there, so we'll stay away from there. Everybody kind of got their preference.
Gotcha. I had Hamza Sabri from Global Connects on not too long ago.
Okay.
And he does government contracts, and we were talking about when COVID hit, how it shut down the supply line, but the government had to keep spending.
Oh yeah.
And I watched something on MSNBC this morning. I'm a stock geek, right? That's my thing. And they were talking about you don't have to worry about anything until the trucks stop moving.
Right.
How does it feel to know that you have the pulse of the economy on your fingertips every day?
You know what? It's funny that you even said that. A good friend of mine, Takara Smith, she's got some trucks with us, and she's doing her own thing too. So hat off to her.
Yeah.
She started Trucker Bay, and I wish I had it on. Trucker Bay is pretty much saying exactly that. The moment trucks stop, your oxygen tank supplies are not there. Your food, your water, your fuel. Wow. I mean, it literally, no pun, but it fuels the entire country. So, the moment trucking stops, we're going to be in a world of hurt. Hence why they don't want unions. Hence why they don't want, they don't want people speaking out, because they understand that this, we say, okay, well, if we went on strike and said, okay, we're no longer taking these $3 a mile rates. We want everything to pay $3.50, $4 a mile. If we really held true to that, they would have to pay it.
Wow.
Hence why the drivers are getting paid a lot more now. Drivers said, you know what? I'm going home. I'm not driving. So what you got to do now? Now you got to pay them, right? You got to pay them. That's why we pay them what we pay, because we understand that it's important. It's vital to keep you some good drivers. Yeah.
I love having guests like yourself on, because you're not just an entrepreneur that knows your business. You understand how everything else affects the business, right? Oh, yeah. And I think being able to have that bird's eye, or pardon the pun, but a hawk eye view, to understand the industry. Shameless plug. It's not the shirt's not enough. But I think I love that, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, or a lot of business owners, visionaries, dream chasers, whatever they call themselves, they forget to look at what happens when the industry that they're chasing collapses, or what happens when it does well. And then back to where you were speaking on 7 different streams. Your one business, your one industry can have 7 different streams off of it, if you know how it affects the bigger picture. So I love that, man. I think that, again, it's just one of the reasons why you keep winning.
Yeah, I keep shooting that shot too. I keep shooting that shot. Sometimes it breaks, sometimes it go in. But, I ain't stopping.
Listen, in terms of setting up the actual business, what was the hardest part for you to grasp? Was it the financials? Was it the paperwork? What was the hardest part to set up Keep Trucking?
I hate paperwork. Oh, I hate paperwork. Oh, I hate it. In college, I hated it. I just hate paperwork.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part, what was the hardest part? Well, now it's obviously finding your driver. So
Yes.
that wasn't before. Before that was easy to get a driver. You know what? I think understanding all the federal filings, and some I still don't understand. But yeah, just kind of understanding the flow of it, having patience. That was patience was the hardest part. That's what it was. I'll be honest with you. I'm used to plug and goes. I'm used to kind of figuring it out, and I'm tapping into the business, and it just flows. I wasn't used to trucks sitting for a month, sitting for 3 weeks. I just wasn't used to waiting for the federal files to come back. I know the pandemic had a lot to do with it, with things coming back from the state taking a little bit longer than normal.
Yes.
It's a lot to learn in this trucking business. I've had, like I said, multiple businesses, and they're pretty easy. There's really not much to kind of think about. Get you an employee or two and let it go from there, right? But with trucking, it's so much stuff to learn. I know I probably don't even know half of it at this point. There's so much I don't know. It's so much stuff to learn in trucking that I think people they underestimate that part. You can have, and I've had clients that have a lot of money, way more money than me, and they just never really understood the concept of trucking. They're used to getting money quick, and this sometimes can be slow money, right? So trying to break it down to somebody that say, yeah, you may be in the whole $2,000 a day, but tomorrow you may get a $5,000 load. But like understanding the process, really, like even factoring, understand how factoring goes. Understanding the importance of factoring, how to work your factoring so that it works for you. Fuel cards, like it's just so much. I could talk for days about trucking, and again, I don't know half of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? Humble enough to know I don't know it all.
That's the key.
But confident enough to know I do my thing in this, right?
You say I'm gonna get paid while I learn. Like,
yeah, I do my thing now, but it's a lot to learn, and I think that was the hardest part, was having businesses that was so easy to run. When I jumped in this, a little arrogant, I was like, I can do this easy. Yeah. No, sir. You know what I'm saying? No, sir. Sit your butt down and understand that you don't know nothing. So I think that was probably the hardest part, was realizing that there was so much more in this industry than I thought.
Wow.
Right. And now I take that and I tell people, you have people, I swear to you not, they'll meet me, they'll say, day one, like within the first 20 minutes, where do I send the money? And I'm so quick to say, hold on. You don't send me no money just yet. Let's see where you're going with this. Like, what do you want to get out of this business? Like, where do you see yourself? What do you want? What are you sending this money for? Is this one truck? You want to get 4 trucks? What type of trailer do you want? Do you understand factoring? Then they get that aha moment. I'm like, yeah, so let's slow down for a minute. Let's talk for a little bit before you start sending out, all that money to buy a truck, and you don't understand that. Some people think if you invest 50, 60,000, that's a lot of money. That's not a lot of money for any business, right? That's peanuts for any type of investment when you have something tangible like a truck or a store. Yes. So 50,000 is not enough money to run and open up much of anything. And I try to explain that to people. So you can't expect to invest 50,000 and then make 50,000 the same month. It doesn't work like that. That's not how this thing works. So I think just slowing people down sometimes is like really important, and kind of, just giving them the true numbers. A lot of people are giving fictitious numbers before they get started. Yeah. And I try to tell people, like, I'll lowball your number before I tell you something outlandish just to get you to invest. I want to see where your mind is. A lot of people do think that you can invest 50,000, you're going to get it back in month 2, month 3. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Well, I like businesses where I can forecast backwards, right? I like businesses where I can say, I want this business to produce $10,000 a month, right? And if somebody can walk me through how I can get to that step of $10,000 a month and make it tangible for me, then it makes sense. And I think a lot of people go into it wrong, saying, I want this business to be off the hook, right? And they don't know what it takes to get to whatever off the hook is. And you got to have that definitive number and say, I want this business, whether it's hair, medical supplies, trucking, podcast, whatever. I want this to produce X per month. What are the steps I need to take it back there? So how much time do you spend learning the business, studying the industry, so that you can, be able to have those type of conversations with your clients and your consultants?
All day. Like I'm always doing a podcast. I'm always on Google. just having conversations with people who are already in trucking. And sometimes even like the newbies, you can sit there and kind of, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. So, me, I'm learning from everybody. I talk to my drivers because obviously I'm not a driver. I don't have a CDL. I don't, I don't have a CDL. Not that I wish I could. I just don't drive well. I don't drive my own car, right? I'm not a driver. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably the only man the only man on this earth that's going to admit it. I don't drive well. So me trying to drive a semi, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm the type to ding my car up and try to blame somebody else. You drive my car? No, and I did it, right? So I'm not good at driving. But so knowing that there's so much that I learned from my drivers. I mean, it's so much. They're in the trenches. They're really the soul of trucking. So I sit down and I listen. I try to understand what it's like to sit in a truck when you expect to get loaded at 5 p.m. and it's 9 p.m. You've been sitting there for 4 hours. In my mind, I'm thinking, you're on the clock. You're getting paid. Turn your TV on, kick your feet up. But in the driver's mindset, they want to go. They're ready to drive.
Right. They're ready to move.
Right. They want to move. That's the reason why they drivers. They want to drive. They want to see the world. They want to, they're more comfortable driving than they are just sitting around and waiting. So just even learning that from them. So that's, I think I'm always educating myself. I'm always listening. I'm always, again, I'm smart enough to know I ain't the smartest person. So I sit and listen. I pick up on everything I can pick up on, right? Yeah. And I just regurgitate it and I grow from it.
I remember watching a movie not too long ago called, I think it's called Ice Road.
Ice Road with the trucker with Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson, yes. Yeah. I was watching that not too long ago, and we were in the process of getting this one together, and I couldn't help thinking to myself, there's something about a mindset for truckers where risk just doesn't match up with the yearning to go. And you just kind of mentioned that it's like they understand risk, they understand dangerous trips and those little windy roads and all that stuff. They get it, but there's something in their spirit where they want to go.
They want to complete the task. That's one of my drivers I was talking to the other day. He said, "Man, I just want to complete the task." Because I was like, "Well, dude, chill, watch some TV, hang out." He said, "Man, it's just I want to complete my task. I want to get them BOL shipped off. I want to get to the next load." Yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, we getting paid, baby. Get to that next load. Yeah. But his mind is like he want to go. He don't want to sit there. He actually said, I'm a little more tired when I'm sitting, and I'm the opposite. I can't drive, so if somebody want to drive, have at it. But his thing was when he's sitting, he's tired, and when he's driving, he's not. And I think a lot of drivers are like that. They go getters. We need these drivers. And I try to express the importance, even when I'm doing these podcasts, just so other owners can understand, like, it's cool to get the money, but you need these drivers, and you better treat them right. Too. Right. You got to.
Yeah, that customer service never goes away. I think that is one of the biggest keys to running a successful business like you have, is understanding that the people that actually do the work need to have a voice.
Right. Yeah.
That's huge. So getting close to wrapping up, I got my rapid fire round for you, sir.
All right.
I'm going to give you a couple of words. You tell me what they mean to you.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
The first word is vision. What does the word vision mean to Michael Nelms?
Oh, man. I like it. Vision. What does it mean to me? I got to do it quick, right?
Yeah, vision. Well, whatever comes to mind first. When you think of the word vision.
Vision, I think of where I see myself, years from now. That's what I think of when I hear the word vision. Where do I see Mike Nelms 4 or 5 years from now? What would he be doing? Where's this company going to be? What do I want for myself? What I want for the people around me? What's the vision?
I love it. What about the word legacy?
Legacy, Madison.
That one came quick.
That's my legacy. Yeah. That's my legacy. First day of school was Tuesday. She came home and said, "Dad, I didn't realize I had my awards in my desk." I said, "What'd you get?" She had academic scholar achievement. So of course she was like valedictorian, but she's been that way literally since she started school. Straight A student. She's 5th grade reads in the 9th, 10th grade level, math 9th, 10th grade level. She's highest step in her entire school. Shout out to Madison. So that's my legacy. I went to Howard. Hopefully she'll go to Howard. Her mom went to Howard. So, that's our legacy, right? That we put all our energy in whatever we do, our love, our care, put everything into that girl. So that's my legacy. It ain't about me. Y'all gonna see this. I promise you, about 15 years, y'all gonna be like, man.
You said she gonna be a problem, huh?
Oh, she a problem now.
I love it. Look, we got to introduce her, man. What grade is Madison in?
5th grade.
Fifth grade?
grade.
Yeah. I gotta
Yep.
put her with my fifth grader, man. We gotta get them together because
We
mine
got
is
to.
all things coding. Like
That's all they do. That's all they
bruh,
do is coding.
it's the weirdest thing. Like she's like, Daddy, I made this character and now it can do XYZ. And I'm sitting here
Yes.
trying to, edit my videos for Instagram.
Right. Right.
Crying
right.
on the inside.
Right.
Like,
Instagram. How many times you have to ask your kid? Listen, she put me on a TikTok. I had my
bruh,
first 70-some-thousand views on TikTok because of her. Never had TikTok. Daddy, you got to get on TikTok if you want to grow your business.
wow.
Never been on TikTok in my life. Never had one. I got on TikTok, posted my first video, 70,000 clicks. Made money off that. Yeah.
Wow. What about the word commitment?
Commitment. Again, high commitment, low attachment. I'm committed to this. This ain't play for me. Like I get serious. You can tell the difference when I get to talking, right?
Yeah.
Some stuff I joke about, but when it comes to this business, this is I'm not playing with this. I'm committed to this. I'm gonna make sure that I see to it, see it to the end. Like I'm not stopping. I'm committed, like 100%, 100%. This is what I do.
I love it. I love it. The last word that I want you to give me your thoughts on is greatness.
Greatness. I love it. To me, it kind of goes hand in hand with legacy. Greatness is exactly what we strive for, right? It's the reason why we get up at 5 a.m, even we don't have to. It's being prepared for what's going to come 2-3 weeks from now. That's greatness. It's not when the clock ticking, you shoot the shot. Greatness happened months prior to that when you was in the gym shooting. When you didn't go to that club, when you ate the right food, when you put that extra work in, that's greatness. Greatness ain't the last 2-3 seconds on the clock when you take that shot. That's preparation. That's greatness. You got to prepare for that. You can't just wake up and be great.
Man, listen, I tell my kids every day, I say, be great. When I drop them off to school, it's my constant reminder to be great. And I think it's just for that reason. It's not because I want them to be great that day. I want them to be able to see the steps, every day that they put forth, right? And just remind them, do your best. Do your best. Right. And now I'm mad that you mentioned, it just wasn't that one exercise you did, because I looked at my free weights the other day in the garage, bruh. And when I tell you, I don't think I could do anything for more than 90 days straight. I was on a roll. Like I was in the mirror, Man, I looked at those free weights the other day and it was just a new level of dust.
Right.
It was a new level of dust on those weights. And I told myself, I said, self, this week, we getting it together. This is the week we stop playing.
Right.
It's Thursday. I ain't touched it yet.
Next week is gonna be it though.
Next week. Next week we getting it in. And it's weird how, and the reason that I long story short, it's hard to stay committed to the greatness because of how easy it is for that one day you miss to pile up, right? That habit to create, right? And so when you mention greatness being it's not just that one day, it's the time you put in, the practice, the shooting in the gym, so to speak, is those things. And I'm a fan of a 90-day blitz, man, because I know I can't stay personally, and I don't know, everybody has their own setup.
It's hard.
Laser focused, I can do 90 days. Day 93, I'm
day
in bed,
93, you like,
sleep. I gotta regroup. And you talked about having that focus and understanding that it's bigger than you. What do you do to wind down?
That's my problem. That balance, I have not mastered that balance yet. I'm not gonna lie. There's some days like I'm tired right now. I'm not gonna lie. I've been at it probably all week, really, up early, staying up late, preparing, trying to make sure that everybody's tight. Everybody's tight. What happened to this load? Did he drop this load? Okay, cool. What happened to that truck? They put in the shop. Did they get out? Like it's always following up with what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't unwind a lot. I don't. I used to ride my bike a lot at the Beltline in Atlanta.
Okay.
Nice little historic spot, and then nice graffiti and all that. So it was nice out there. So I used to ride my bike a lot, but I found myself on my phone while riding my bike. I have a little phone attached to the bike, and I'm trying to text and look where I'm going, and you know what I mean? So it's hard for me to unwind because I always got this phone. I said what I'm gonna start doing is for a couple hours a day, literally power my phone off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said at some point I'm really gonna start doing it, but I get anxiety. I got to touch that phone every 2-3 minutes. I get a text, and I miss a load. Did this not get dropped? Did this broke a car? Yeah. And it's funny because I don't handle it. Other people handle it, but I'm checking up on what they got going on. And I guess I gotta trust them a little bit.
You checking in on the check-in.
But I got to unwind. That's something I am gonna start working on. It really is unhealthy to work this much. It's unhealthy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely will start to figure out how I can unwind a little bit.
I had a gentleman on last year. His name was Mark Coley. He's a business coach. He did teach me one cheat code, which I still do. He said he puts together, you have your to-do list for the day or whatever, right?
Right.
But he said once you knock out he said power your phone off, right? Until you knock out the third thing. And once you get the first 3 things done on the to-do list, then you get to touch the phone. It's like a reward for yourself.
It's like a reward. I like it.
And so that I will say that has worked really well for me, except when I'm doing like active investing or whatever. You got to watch the market.
You got to be on that phone, right?
You got to be on it. So yeah, I think I will say, man, I am hoping that you learn a way to wind down a little bit, because the work that you're doing is changing lives, man. And for the culture, we need you around. So don't let your body be the reason to tell you to shut down. You know what I mean?
Right. I appreciate you. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, let everybody know where they can find you online, and we'll wrap this one up, boss.
Oh man, I didn't want to wrap it up, man.
I know. You know what? Let's do that. Let's do this. We're gonna make sure that we have a second one, because I think there's so many things that I wanted to cover, but we only got that hour. And obviously, it's positive vibes here. So we got to do a part 2. Maybe we'll do it on Instagram Live. Maybe we'll do it that way.
That'll be cool. I'll learn how to start. I don't really do it, so that's something I need to tap into. But Instagram, there you go. You can hit me at Maddie Daddy Time on Instagram, MADDY time. On Instagram. Same thing on TikTok. And webpage is keeptruckingtransportation.com. keeptruckingtransportation.com.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've been rocking with the great one, Mr. Mike Nelms, and yours truly, Chuck Hawkins, here at the Hawk Vision Podcast, teaching you how to make money in the trucking industry. I hope this interview was informative. I hope we added a smile to your day, but most importantly, we help that you have been able to help you shorten the learning curve on your journey to success. Buy your boy a coffee. The link will be in the show notes, so you feel so glad to do so. Like, share, subscribe across all the platforms. Send in your messages, your guest suggestions. I cannot continue to grow this show without my visionaries. I appreciate you guys giving us time today. Remember, absolutely no miracle happens without somebody doing something. We'll see you either at the top or from the top. Mr. Nelms, thank you for joining the show, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely.
Yes,